morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice Radio, and today I'm kind of delighted because we can look at the pre-release promos for Vivid Voltage, and for me personally, they are the best set of pre-release promos we've ever had, and I mean that in a very literal, not exaggerating sense. Objectively, they might not be the best ever. Team Up were nuts. But I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, this is a really, really good set of pre-release promos. Now, I need to give a massive shout out to the lovely, wonderful Stephen Kent as we start this video. He is one of our favourites on this channel. As you know, we've shouted him out many times before, and we shall do so many times again. Hopefully, at least. And he has gone and hooked us up with images of this. He did do a video about them. I'll pop a link to that video in the description. Click it, check it out. Stephen is an awesome dude. So let's give some love to awesome people to help us out, shall we? That would be lovely. Now, we're going to go in order here. We are going to go worst to first. And we're going to start off at number 4 with LUCIA. And I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, when I say LUCIA is the worst, LUCIA is a good card that I'm pretty excited about. And I'll be honest with you, I'm looking at this might actually be the best set of pre-release promos we've had. There is not a dud here. Now, LUCIA's got Gust for 2 energy, 40 damage, nobody cares. But for 4 energy, you get to do 250 damage, but it only works if your opponent has at least 6 cards in hand. Now, I got very excited about this LUCIA when I first looked at it, and I have shown you a winning list based around it. The problem with LUCIA is just that it's awkward. Now, in terms of getting the energy on, it can be done in one turn using a combination of Welder and Twin Energy, and then you've got the 4 colorless energy on and you're good to go. And until your opponent takes a prize, Reset Stamp has got your back. Because you play a Reset Stamp, that puts your opponent to 6 cards in hand, and you're good to go. After your opponent started taking prizes, it's a bit more awkward. You've got things like Surprise Box, which can put a card from your opponent's discard pile into their hand. There are ways, but it's kind of awkward. You've got things like Team Yell Grunt, which will put an energy from your opponent's active into their hand, so that then they've got 1 more card in hand. There are ways to do it, but LUCIA, I'm worried it's a bit of a gimmicky donk deck, or it's just a starter in another deck, first couple of prizes kind of thing, but then you still got to play Welder and Twin Energy. I love this LUCIA, and I don't want to put it at 4, and I think there are a lot of sets where this would not have been anywhere near this, but in Vivid Voltage it is. In at number 3, and I do think you could flick 2 and 3 around and I wouldn't be terribly upset, but in at number 3, we've got Charizard. Now, for those of you that are wondering, yes, this will be the most sought-after card. It's a Charizard. If you get this and want to sell it quickly. Because remember, we have already had a pre-release promo Charizard, ironically enough, in Team Up, which, like I say, that was the last set that I think had really, phenomenal pre-release promos. And that value of that one has not gone nuts. It's alright, but it went up sharply and then fell over time. The exception, of course, is the Staff pre-release promo, the one given to judges that has the Staff stamp on it. That one will be quite a valuable card, so if you can get yourself a Staff promo, then that is a different thing. As for the card itself, it's a pretty playable card. I haven't actually shown you a winning deck list for this one yet, but I will do probably today or tomorrow. It's a very nice card. The ability says that once during your turn, you may look at the top 3 cards of your deck, put 1 into your hand and discard the others, which is pretty gosh darn good. I mean, there is some discard there, but at least you get to choose which 2 you discard. You might not always have great choices, but at least you do get to make choices. And it's draw power and consistency, which is the one thing we really need with stage 2s. But then for 2 energy, you do 100 damage plus 50 for each Leon in your discard pile. Now, at this stage, I should probably remind you what Leon actually does. It is just a supporter card that does an extra 30 damage. You play it, you do an extra 30 damage. So if you've got 3 Leon in your discard pile, when you play the 4th one, it's in your discard. Old rules actually would have been worse for this because it stayed next to your Pokemon until the end of the turn, but now they get discarded straight away. And you do 330 damage for 2 energy on a single prize Pokemon. It is a stage 2, and the fact that it's a stage 2 really does work against it, and I'm sorry, but this has the best chance of being good, weirdly enough, since Team Up Charizard, but I think this has a better chance of being good than Team Up Charizard. I'm not ready to sit here and tell you it's going to be this amazing, phenomenal, awesome card, but I am willing to tell you that there is a chance this is awesome. In at number 2, and this is the one I'm going to be going for, it's Donphan. And on a serious note, if anyone gets any of these pre-release promo Donphan and are willing to let them go for a reasonable price or trade, please, please, please get in touch with me. I want minimum 5 of these, one to collect for my playset, because I genuinely will be playing Donphan for pretty much the entirety of the time it's legal. And even if I'm not playing it in every tournament, I will always have a Donphan deck ready and on the go. So in all seriousness, hook me up on Twitter at the Wassy. I am after as many of these as I can get my hands on. But it's not just because I'm a Donphan fanboy, a Donphan boy, if you will. And you can all see the logo in the bottom left-hand corner of this screen. It is because this Donphan is awesome. 1 fighting energy, 120 plus 20 to each of your benched Pokemon. It's basically the new Excadrill. And Excadrill has proven to be good. And this has more HP and doesn't mill yourself. It's also got a retreat cost of 4, but then again, so does Excadrill. That's relevant for buff padding, incidentally. Now, what is also really cool here is Phanpy. Because you see, Phanpy has got an attack which does 30 damage for each damage counter on it. It's kind of like Spiritomb, but you don't get the 10 base, but you have an extra 10 HP, which as far as I'm concerned makes it better. And you just need to damage itself and it becomes really good. Oh look, Donphan damages. Plus we are getting Memory Capsule in this set, which is literally Memory Berry with a different name. It allows Donphan to use Phanpy's attack. And don't forget we got Spike Muff, so when you switch to the bench you take 2 damage, as does your opponent, which will help you as well. I mean, you play it because you want to self-damage, but then your opponent ends up damaging themselves as well, which is just a brilliant bonus. The point is, I genuinely believe Donphan and Phanpy could be a really, really strong deck moving forward. It is a phenomenal card. I am a ridiculous fan, and I feel really confident putting it at number 2 on this list. It's a single energy attacker that's got another really good attack on the pre-evolution. And you can just play Phanpy without Donphan, incidentally, though you obviously wouldn't need the pre-release promo to do so. And, of course, you're then hitting weakness on all of these things like Eternatus VMAX, and Pikachu and Zekrom, and Vikavolt, etc. I think this could be an absolute top deck moving forward. This is the number 1 card I wanted as a pre-release promo. We got it. I'm delighted. Want to know what the number 2 card I would want as a pre-release promo is? Snorlax, and that's in at number 1. For what it's worth, I also really wanted Barraskewda as a pre-release promo, but I think at this stage I'm kind of taking the mick a little bit. This Snorlax is awesome. It's got an ability which is literally Tropical Beach. You draw until you've got 7 cards in your hand, and then you end your turn. Now, I have already seen this popping up in a bunch of deck lists over in Japan, and I don't think this is going to stop anytime soon. It ends your turn, so it's not an every turn thing. This isn't a new Jirachi, because Jirachi you used every turn and then got it out in the active. But in terms of early game, it's phenomenal. Do remember, also Gormandize as a name, what a name for an ability. Please do remember that turn 1 at the moment, you're not allowed to attack, and you're not allowed to use a supporter, so you're probably going to end your turn by passing anyway. So why not use this ability? If you're using a stage 2 or setup deck, you can have a couple turns of this until you're ready to start rolling, because until you're rolling it doesn't really matter anyway. And even if you are playing a hyper aggro deck, this Snorlax. I mean, any deck that's playing a bunch of cards like Switch and Scoop Up Net really should play this. Because at the end of the day, we're all playing Quick Ball, and if you end up with, say, a Switch and a Quick Ball turn 1, that can get you a Snorlax, and that can get you rolling and drawing extra cards. I can see me putting 1 Snorlax into the majority of my decks from now until it rotates out. And I do think, for me, it's an easy number 1 on this list. But the fact of the matter is, I genuinely believe all 4 of these are good. I think LUCIA and Charizard make good rogue decks. I think Donphan's got a chance to be great, and I think Snorlax could be a staple in a whole bunch of decks. I genuinely do believe this is the best set of pre-release promos we've had since Team Up. And honestly, I think it might be better. Because Team Up did have the Jirachi, which was amazing, and the Zapdos, which was amazing, and the Charizard, which very much like this Charizard, incidentally, was a good Charizard that had potential, but it never actually ended up being great. So we'll have to see if it does end up being better moving forward. But then it had Nidoqueen. And Nidoqueen kind of let the side down. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think we've got any here that are actually letting the side down. I think this might legitimately be the best set of pre-release promos since we went to a set of 4 pre-release promos, and I honestly do not say that lightly. I am kind of a bit blown away by how awesome these are. It also means I'm going to have to go to a whole bunch of pre-releases or buy a whole bunch of kits, but you know what? That's kind of alright by me. Alright, so there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the pre-release promo cards. That's why I'm so gosh darn excited, but I'd like to know how excited you are. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.